So next one is the cooling tower performance. So the cooling tower performance can be evaluated based on several criteria, which is the effectiveness of removal or heat is removed from the condenser. And then we have the reduction of energy consumption in the compressor, fan and pump. This is related to heat removed from the condenser. And then the cooling tower performance also depend on the selection of ratio of air and water by the crossfield and water distribution system, the nozzle inside the cooling tower. So next one, we are going to the cooling tower maintenance and troubleshoot and repair of the cooling tower. So maybe we will highlight on the maintenance side first. So in cooling tower actually a very good place for mud, debris, dirt, leaf, and any living organism to live at cooling tower because of the wet condition of the cooling tower and surrounding part. So usually a bacteria called Legionella usually can live at the cooling tower. So it is very dangerous if this kind of bacteria is exposed to the human. So we have to make sure we have used a very good water treatment techniques to reduce the risk. So usually we will adopt a dry cooling tower. Servicing of the cooling tower is about 2 times per year. So it's about 6 months one time. So we have to use a proper chemical for the water treatment. So what is the water treatment chemical? We use example is CW509 brand. So this is the normal usage of chemical for the cooling tower water. So we have to mix the 2.5 ounce of water with 1000 gallons of makeup water tank water. So makeup water tank, we supply the water to the cooling tower. So why we do the water treatment? Because we want to prevent the occurrence of most algae, fungi from growth in the cooling tower. So by applying the water treatment and chemical to the cooling tower, so we reduce the risk of the growth of the algae and mold, and also we will prevent the corrosion in the pipe. So usually for the maintenance personnel, the water treatment will result in irritation because of the chemical can influence and irritate the skin if it is exposed to the skin of the maintenance. So this is the example of bottle of chemical that we use for the cooling tower water treatment. So we have to make sure a very clean water for our cooling tower to make sure we have a very optimum cooling tower efficiency. So actually, when we want to put the water treatment process, we want to put the chemical. Usually, we will put into the makeup water tank, and some personnel also put the chemical inside the cooling tower. And usually, the water of the cooling tower will circulate, and they will mix up again, and then it will result that all the cooling tower water will be treated by the chemical. So before we proceed to the cooling tower maintenance and servicing, usually the maintenance will take the sample of the water. So they have some criteria that they have to the cooling tower water. So when they put take the sample of cooling tower, they have some certain color, some certain color. So they already know that the water of the cooling tower must be replaced. So based on the recommendation by United States of Occupational Safety and Health Administration OSHA Technical Manual, so it said that in the Chapter 7, Section 3, cooling tower should be cleaned and disinfected at least twice a year. So like I said previously, we have to perform the maintenance and servicing for cooling tower for at least 6 months one time, so which is 1 year 2 times. So normally this maintenance will be performed before initial startup at the beginning of the cooling season. This is the case for the 4 season country, and after shutdown in the fall season. So some building also they have their own facility, personnel and facility maintenance. So they also can do a monthly service and monthly checking for the cooling tower. For example, they can do also the general inspection of the cooling tower, either it is in very good condition or not. Is any broken body of the cooling tower, cleaning and degrease the cooling tower, cleanse and flush some, cleaning the strainer to avoid clog of water. So inspection and adjustment of water in the system uh, of the bed that is the balance, which is the level of the cooling tower. So examination of heat transfer and performance report, and this is usually they can get the data from the control center. So inspection and distribution pen spray nozzle. So is it the nozzle working? Inspection and adjusting belting. If they are using the belting from the motor, and then the examination of abnormal noise. Is there any too high of noise there, which is abnormal? Examination of the fan motor bearing, the Volton inspection and motor ampere, which is the running amp of the cooling tower, round fan and pump inspection, and also inspection of the concussion. So for program B, which is the annual service of the cooling tower, so they still have to do the program A servicing. So they have just to add some service for annual, which is put all the motor shaft bearing all on the screw in the motor and the fan, checking gearbox oil and oil pollution. We're afraid of any leakage of the gearbox oil, and then the water and new water change. So in this part, water and new water change, we have to do also the water treatment, and we have to put the chemical to treat the water. So examination of motor current continuity and anti-rust also in the cooling tower. So any personnel also have to check on the working area of the cooling tower. Is there any leakage of water surrounding of the cooling tower? So if there is any water surrounding, so it might be a leakage of water from the pipe of the cooling tower. Is it either it is the factor is from the rain or from the cooling tower leakage? So they have to make sure and check it. So how much is it the cost of the servicing cooling tower? So usually it will related to the size of the cooling tower, the location, and the overall performance of the cooling tower. So usually they will divide it into one cooling tower, how much, how many ringgit for one cooling tower they will service. So in this slide also I put also the cooling tower maintenance checklist. You can go through and read it. And then the servicing cooling tower, any checklist, and then the problem of Legionella problem, and then the example of maintenance picture of servicing the cooling tower. So I've also put the checklist and the technical specification that you usually get by the maintenance. So this is the checklist and worksheet for the technical spec of the cooling tower before they proceed to the servicing and maintenance of the cooling tower. So until now, so that's all. So we will continue our lecture next week. Thank you very much, and Selamat Hari Raya.